YouTube, Ken here with another Black Desert Online video for you. And today we're going to be talking about something I haven't touched yet in the channel, which is a gathering. But before we go into the video, I want to make sure that you know that I am not a hardcore life skiller. I'm not a hardcore gatherer. I am actually not a hardcore anything in this game. I do a little bit of everything, kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. But I'm going to give you some tips today on how to gather somewhat rare materials that you might be looking for. And those mats are the rainbow mushrooms, the truffle mushrooms, and the dead tree essence. You can get the three of them in one place, and that place is Polyforest. Now you're already seeing the footage here in the background of me grinding or gathering those mushrooms in Polyforest, and they're actually the mobs that you normally be grinding for silver and SP or XP or whatever you do in Polyforest. But as you might have noticed, if you went grinding in Polyforest at some point, you can actually gather from the mushrooms after you kill them, as long as you have a hoe equipped. And what you gather from the mushrooms is mushrooms for the most part, and that's exactly from where you're going to be getting the rainbow mushrooms and the truffles and the dead tree essence. Now I'm gonna, before we go into the numbers here, what I got, let me show you here my pets. I have what I use here is a tier 3 hedgehog, and I do use the rest is just durability pets, the griffins, so that my tool can last a little longer while I'm gathering. And for my gear, you can see on the screen also here, I have all low gear except for the hoe, which is a dual manuals hoe. Like I said, I'm not a hardcore life skiller, so this is what I got so far. I will be upgrading my gear little by little here as I feel necessary. But when you see the values here in a second, do realize that, do keep in mind that this is with I think my mastery is about 600. Right now I can show that on the screen as well. Here my gathering master with the hoe, including the manuals hoe, is 609, and that also includes the buffs, the food buff that I'm using, the seafood, whatever, the seafood meal. And I'm also using a spirit stone of life, whatever that's called in English, that you can actually conveniently also get from killing the mushrooms at Polyforest. But if you're a legit life skiller, you probably have already your alchemy life stone. But this is what I got. So I got these pets, I got this gear, and I got this mastery. The main problem with Poly is that if you're wearing your gathering gear, those mobs can hurt you a little bit. You definitely want to be around level 60 to go there, so that you can hit them and kill them quickly and have a decent weapon, so you can hopefully 1 or 2 shot them. But the problem is that the mobs in Polyforest have a pretty large aggro range. They can, especially those little mushroom hat wizard dudes that can shoot poison at you. Those guys are really annoying. They can aggro from quite far away and start shooting you and doing damage. And if you go after them, if you have a melee clash, if you go after them, you're going to aggro the next group, and it just keeps going on and on and on. So what I have for you here is 2 different rotations that I'll be showing on the screen. The first one is one that you just you get a huge group and you just smash, or 2 huge groups actually, and just go between the 2 and you AoE them down as fast as you can, and you just gather all the mobs from that group, and then you go to the next group and you gather from them. Rinse and repeat, kill them, AoE them down, and gather from them. The problem with that is that if you don't kill and gather fast enough, they're gonna start respawning you, because the respawn rate in Polyforest is actually really high, really fast. And I actually have my pets here on the slowest looting speed possible, because I assume that the corpses won't disappear as fast and start respawning, and as long as there's loot still on them. So I try to give myself some breathing room there. Let me know if that's not the case, but either way, you don't want to, you don't need to be keeping your pets on the whatever the fastest looting speed is, because you're not going to be jumping from mobs to mobs that quickly anyways. So you might want to save yourself some pet food there by keeping your pets on the slowest gathering possible, slowest looting possible. But yeah, so the 2 areas that I'm showing here, one of them is with the 2 big groups, where, and as you see in the footage here, while I'm gathering, other mobs are respawning and starting to attack me, so I have to stop gathering to kill the remaining mobs. If you don't mind the respawning and constantly stopping to kill mobs as they respawn, or if you can gather and kill them faster than they can respawn, then this is a good area. The 2 large groups are close enough that it doesn't take too long to get from one group to the other. But if you can't kill them very fast, you're going to have to keep stopping and killing before they kill you. Keep that in mind. Oh no, there are other places in Poly that you can actually go that also have big groups. It really depends on how fast you can clear the mobs and gather from them, and how that's going to relate to the respawning, because it can get quite annoying. And if you don't pay attention, I actually died a couple of times before, because I wasn't paying attention, and they do a lot of damage when you're wearing gathering gear. So you might, if you're not comfortable, you might want to keep your regular grinding armor and just use Manos accessories or low gear accessories, whatever you want to keep on. Of course, you're gonna get less mastery if you go that route. The other cool thing with poly too is you can get a lot of drops per gather, like sometimes 5, 6 in just one click. So poly might actually be a good way also for you to level up your gathering, because I don't know if you know this, but you actually get XP based on how many different drops you get from each harvest, and not necessarily for how many of each you get. At least that's what I've heard from live skillers that actually live skill on a regular basis. So if you're looking to level up your gathering, you can go to poly and do that too. Turns out poly is not just good for leveling up your combat XP, but also your life skilling XP or gathering XP. So the other rotation that I'm also showing here is the only rotation that I've been able to find at poly. Granted, I haven't checked every single nook and cranny in poly, but I checked quite a bit. And this is the only rotation where I can actually go from group to group without having to worry about respawns and getting attacked. So I can just go from one group and then kill everybody, and then go harvest all the mushrooms and then go to the next group without having to worry about getting hit. The group's a little smaller and requires a little bit more running around. So I'll let you choose which thing annoys you the most, if it's respawning mobs or if it's running around between groups. It's not too far of a distance actually, but no, I'll let you decide. I'll give you 2 options here, and you can choose your pick of poison, if you will. Now there might be other ways, better ways to gather rainbow mushrooms and truffle mushrooms. From what I understand, truffle mushrooms are really annoying. They only spawn in some caves and you gotta go around the map chasing them. This one, you're just killing mobs and they actually come to you and you can just slaughter them and grind from them. I don't know how many of either of these items you can get from actually gathering in the wild. I will tell you what I get, and you can compare if you have experience harvesting these in the wild. The truffle mushrooms, the rainbow mushrooms, and or the dead tree essence. All right, so let's look at some numbers here. So what I got in about 20 minutes, because that's how long I can gather before my tool breaks, and then I have to go back to town because I only have one. I just gather until my tool breaks, and then I go and I call it a day. But looking here in my bag at the end of the session here, I can see that in 20 minutes I was able to get 127 rainbow mushrooms, 6 of the dead tree essence, and 33 of the truffle mushrooms. And you do get some of you do get individual mushrooms, truffle mushrooms, but you also get some of the bundles. And I opened one of these bundles and I got 10 out of it. And so they probably range between, I don't know, 6 and 10, maybe even more. I got actually probably half of my truffle mushrooms from those bundles that you can get here. So I got 33 truffle mushrooms in 20 minutes. So that would be, let's say if you multiply it by 3, right? Because there's 3 20-minute sessions in an hour, you're looking at almost 100 mushrooms. Let's tone it down to 80. So we can think of 80 truffle mushrooms an hour maybe on a low end here, and then a little over 300, almost 400 rainbow mushrooms, because 127 is actually not the highest I've got. If you multiply 120 plus 3, you're gonna get 360 rainbow mushrooms in an hour of gathering here. And no, the dead tree essence, I got 6. I think that might have been high, but if you go again times 3, 18, let's say 15 dead tree essences in an hour. If you have experience, like I said, if you have experience gathering these in other areas and you can get better results than this, feel free to share your information down below. But this is what I get, and again, this is with my 609 mastery, right? So clearly, if you have better mastery than I do, you're going to be getting more of these, because I believe these qualify as rare drops. So you're going to be getting a lot more. You also get all the mushrooms here. I'll post a picture here of my inventory so you can see what other mushrooms you get, but most of them are not really useful. I usually just sell them in the marketplace. They don't necessarily sell really fast, but they do sell. Just extra money. And then of course you're getting Caphras and Blackstones, right? Because these are still mobs that you're killing in combat. So you can get Caphras and Blackstones for enhancing if you're into that kind of stuff. And then I also got 3 sharps and 3 hards. Not really the point of the video, but you can get all this stuff. So yeah, I think that's all that I really wanted to say about this today. Kind of a short video, I think, and a different video and a gathering video here. But if you liked the video and found it informative, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you want to see more video content from me, don't forget to subscribe. Also come join our Twitch stream and the Discord server. Links for all this stuff down below. And if not, like I said, if you want to share your ways to gather rainbow mushrooms, truffle mushrooms, and the dead tree essence, feel free to post in the comments down below. But with all that out of the way, that's all I have for you tonight, and I will see you again on Wednesday for the patch notes video. All right, take care.